Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is really early. It's early for me, and it's early in the day. It is currently 9:28 a.m. I have been up since about 8 o'clock this morning. I went to bed really early last night. I am fully rested and ready to go for the day. I have already read my meditation books out on the front porch. I have been drinking a cup of coffee in my new mug that I just got yesterday, and I've also been reading some just fictional books for fun and just kind of thinking about the month ahead. I've been cleaning up, I've been doing laundry, I made the bed. I have been so productive today, and my cousin Caroline is coming to pick me up for a doctor's appointment that my husband is meeting me at this afternoon, and Caroline and I are going to go out to lunch first, and I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about reading and watching some TV shows and some movies this weekend and just kind of having a calm, relaxing weekend. So I feel completely prepared for the day ahead. And there are a lot of days that I get up and I do my meditations and I do my prayers and I ask myself then, you know, like, are you ready to start your day? I think I've talked about that on here before, where, you know, I'll do my meditations. First I take Boo Radley out, then I have like a glass of water or a cup of coffee or tea, and I'll read just recently tea. I'll read my daily meditations and do my prayers and do a gratitude list. And then I kind of ask myself, are you ready to start your day? And before that, I don't get on my phone and look at stuff. I don't look at text messages, phone calls, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Well, I hardly get on Facebook anyway. But any of that stuff, just because those are distractions sometimes. And blockage to me having the best day that I possibly can. Because like if I get a text message and I'm distracted by it, or if I see something on social media and then my mind starts spinning, or whatever, positive or negative, you know, like if it's something that I'm really excited about, or if it's something that like I have a very strong feeling about or whatever, that distracts me from setting this foundation for my day. And this is something that I actually learned in therapy the last time that Alex and I were in therapy with the previous counselor. We're in therapy with a new counselor, and individually and in marriage counseling. So that was something that I learned, was to kind of set a strong foundation for my day going forward. And I would suggest it to anybody out there to try it for a week or 30 days. And trust me, it will completely change your life, like completely change your life. The way that gratitude lists have really changed me and profoundly affected my life is the same way that that setting a foundation for my day in a positive way and kind of having peace and serenity first have changed my day. Because I think for me, when I have this period of peace and serenity, and one of the most important parts of that process is kind of sitting outside and being part of the universe and listening to the sound of a lawnmower, or kids running down the street, or dogs barking in the distance, or, you know, neighbors playing tennis, or, you know, somebody splashing in the pool, whatever I hear, you know, cars in the distance, and realizing that I'm just part of this great big world out there. Part of that for me is really helps me get centered. And then when I have that peace and that serenity for the day, I'm less willing to give it away, if that makes sense. Like when stuff comes up throughout my day, I'm more likely to hit my pause button, and I'm less willing to just give it away in the way that I was in the past. You know, in the past, I would react to stuff so irrationally and so quickly that I was willing to just allow anger, you know, even kind of like rage sometimes in my mind, you know, misery, resentment, frustration. I was willing to just give my way to that. And today, when I start my day with peace and serenity and happiness in my heart, you know, and hopefulness in my heart, I'm not so willing to give that away so quickly. And so when stuff comes up throughout my day, I'm more quickly to hit the pause button and say, okay, wait a second. What's really going on here? Let's take a step back. Let's restart my day. Let's do some prayer and meditation. You know, and I'm not really willing to give it away as quickly. And as a result of that, I have felt much more peaceful and serene on a regular basis. And I think it also lends to me kind of thinking clearer about things and desires and passions and things that I want to do, which is going to lead me to this video today. So I really wasn't going to start with that whole 5-minute intro. I was going to start just with this meditation from Melody Beatty. I read about 6 different meditation books this morning, and honestly, when I read this one, I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to talk about today, because I need your help. And so actually, let me get into this meditation, and this is from Melody Beatty's Journey to the Heart. For those of you that are new over here, I typically read, because I'm going to be making an announcement on other channels, so I don't know, there might be some new people over here. I typically read from daily meditation books over here pretty regularly. There have been times where I've read every single day, and the last month I was reading, like, I don't know, every 3rd day or something like that. So I'm trying to get back to a more regular schedule. September 2nd, listen to the voice of the soul. Listen to your soul. It speaks quietly, yet clearly, about what it wants, what it needs, what it's learning, what it yearns for. It speaks of its fears and dreams, its hopes and needs. Learn to listen to the souls of others, too. Listen not only to the way people chatter and exchange ideas, learn to listen to what they're really saying. My son is 19. He's moved away from home. He talks all the time about wanting to be grown up, wanting his independence. So my husband and I have really tried to give him his freedom, one woman said. Yet recently, when he had a crisis, I heard for the first time what he really was saying. Don't go too far away. Call me often. Be there for me. Let me know you're there. Let me know you still care. Now I try to call him every day just to tell him I love him and to let him know I'm close by. The crisis he had wasn't the issue. Not really. What he was really saying was he needed us. Go beyond what you hear with your ears. Learn to hear what you're really saying and what others are really saying to you. Souls do talk. Listen quietly. Listen to your own. Learn to hear the voices of others. A voice of others. A little soul talk goes a long way. And I love this meditation. And you know, it's funny because when I was reading it outside, I was thinking to myself, this story that this woman is telling in here kind of sounds familiar to me. Like, I feel like there's a friend of mine that kind of had a very similar story to that. And what I just realized reading it for the 2nd time today was that I've probably read this meditation on this channel because I've read these Melody Beatty books for so many years in a row now. I think like 3 or 4 years in a row, that I probably read this exact same meditation like a year ago. And so I'm doing the commentary on this meditative commentary. I'm talking about this meditation a year later or 2 years later. I might have read it every year the last 4 years. Who knows, right? So anyway, soul talk. Listening to what your soul needs. Listening to what your soul desires. And what the souls of others want. So I did a video on my Peter Monn channel the other day. And I don't know, I called it something like I Need to Talk or whatever. I'm thinking about changing the title because I got a few comments on there where people were like, you really should change the title of this video to help more people that are addicts and alcoholics that are out there, or people that are in recovery, or people that want to be in recovery, because it'll help them find it. So I think I'm going to change the title of that video just so that when people come across it, they know what it's about. And but you know, I love talking so much about addiction and recovery and sobriety. It's my life. It's my lifeline, you know? And ever since I was 22 and a half, ever since December 17th of 1994, my life has ultimately changed for the better. Sobriety is a design for living for me. I talk about it all the time, you know, and it's not just like I'm talking to people and being like, you got to get sober, it's not about all that, you know? My friends are sober. Most of my friends have long-term sobriety, so we talk about emotional sobriety, which is who are you when you put the drink or the drug down? Who are you after that? You know, we talk about dealing with life issues, whether that's moving, relationships, dealing with parents as we get older, you know, whatever, like life issues. We talk about that through the language of recovery, and that's what I mean by it's a design for living. And the things that we do, you know, that to stay sober today, and for me to work a program, to work a 12-step program. And I know that there are many different ways to get sober, and I respect those people that choose a different way from a 12-step program. That's just my experience, strength, and hope. That's just my experience, and I try to share my experience, strength, and hope. But you know, like I got done doing that video and I talk a lot about it in all of my channels, but like on that channel, I've done some dedicated videos talking just about my recovery, which was interesting because a lot of people were like, okay, this is about time that you did a dedicated video. And I was like, I've done a lot of dedicated videos over here talking about my recovery. So I got done doing that video and I really felt compelled to start talking more about addiction and recovery. You know, I got so many comments from people that were just like, you know, thank you so much for sharing your story. I was talking in there about the importance of planting a seed. The importance of my purpose always has just been that I wanted to just share my story and just plant a seed out there. And that when somebody down the road, like if they had a problem or if they knew somebody that had a problem, they might think to themselves, well, I remember Peter talking about this in this video that I watched. So if Peter can do it, then maybe I can do it. Or maybe somebody that I know can do it or whatever, you know? And I think also my story is not unique, but a little different because my mom got sober 6 months after I did. And so, you know, and I've also been sober for a long time. I mean, when I watch a lot of people that are sober on YouTube videos and stuff like that, I think they're earlier in sobriety, you know, which is so inspiring. And there's two things I always think about YouTube and sobriety, right? And number one is that there is no way, like, God love these people that are in early sobriety, that are dedicating their channels to that or talking about early sobriety, because I don't know that I could have been on a public forum talking about my sobriety or early sobriety. I mean, I was so, like, out of my mind, honestly. Like, I was constantly, like, craving the next drink or drug that it literally was an hour at a time for me sometimes. That to actually sit down and talk about that on video, like, I wasn't there. Like, my first 6 months was literally just about not drinking and not drugging. So I really admire and respect those people, you know, and I think it's so powerful that they're telling their stories in early sobriety, because I don't think I could have done it, right? I really don't think that I could have done it. And the other thing I think about that is I wish I had that. I wish I had somebody that had 2 years or 4 years or 5 years, you know, that it was like kind of like a living 12-step meeting that I could just turn on video at any given time. And maybe that person's talking about, you know, a dating relationship in recovery or whatever. Well, just because I am not in early sobriety doesn't mean that I don't have things to say, obviously, right? So I got done watching this because, like, the reason why I say that is because when I first got sober, and let's say I was 30 or 60 days sober, like, for me to listen to somebody that had 27 and a half years like I do, I was like, first of all, they're lying. They haven't been sober that long, because I just couldn't fathom the idea that somebody would be sober that long. And second of all, I was like, for me, it was more about the people that had like 90 days or 6 months or a year, because like that to me seemed realistic. So I could like hold on to that and be like, I just want 6 months or I just want a year, right? And so those were the people that I looked up to and I respected at that time. All the old farts that had 20 years, 10 years even, you know, at that time I just was like, yeah, this can't be the case. They don't even have a beer from now and then. I don't believe that, right? From time to time. So anyway, I got done doing that video the other day and something felt different in me that had felt previously talking about it in videos. You know, I talk a lot about addiction. I talk a lot about overdoses. I talked about my sponsor. I talked about, you know, inventory. On this channel especially, I talk a lot about addiction and recovery and sharing my story. But I felt really compelled to continue to talk about it. And in all honesty, I was like, I think I want to start a 7th channel. And I know that that's crazy, when some days I can't even keep up with the 6 that I have. But I was like, I really think that I want to start a 7th channel and I want to dedicate it just to sobriety. And I want to just talk about sobriety and recovery over there so that people can come to that channel and they can hear me talk about what is a blackout, what was my experience blacking out, you know, getting sober for legal reasons versus getting sober for on your own. And when people say that you know, you can't force somebody to want to get sober, you know, they have to have a desire to get sober on their own, and is that true and is that not true, and what is a sponsor and how do you work 12 steps and all this kind of stuff, right? And what are the alternatives to 12 steps, and have you ever tried any of those, and you know, what is the marijuana maintenance program, and have you ever tried that, and on and on and on, right? Like all of these different questions that I got, and people talking to me about like, how do you help a family member? How do you help a friend that's in recovery or that isn't willing to go into recovery or isn't willing to get help? How do you help a family member or a friend? Or do I have a hard time with my husband who drinks, and how do I set boundaries and limits for that? Or other friends that drink and things like that, right? there are countless things that I could talk about. So I was thinking about it, and I was talking to my husband last night. We were just laying in bed talking about different stuff, and I was telling him that I just felt just so inspired by doing that video, you know? And so, I don't know, after that, like I said, I went to bed early, and I was kind of laying there in bed thinking about it, and I thought, because a couple people mentioned that I should put that on my vlog channel. Well, my vlog channel is really like a podcast. I mean, it really is. I just sit on my front porch every day for a half an hour to an hour, and I just talk and share stories of my life. And I've shared a lot of my recovery over there, right? But to do dedicated videos about a specific topic to do with recovery or addiction doesn't seem like it fits over there. So I was thinking it through, and I was like, do you really want to start a 7th channel? Like, that really seems like a lot. And I was like, no, I don't think I do. And so I was like, what about your Peterisms channel? Like, that makes perfect sense, right? Like, your Peterisms channel, don't sign off yet. Hold on, I'm still going to do the meditations. So I was like, that makes perfect sense because you're already talking about that stuff to some degree, right? Like, you're already talking a lot about addiction and recovery. So I think what I'm going to be doing, and I don't know when this is going to happen. I'm thinking more around the beginning of October. I might do a few videos here and there in September, but I'm thinking really about the beginning of October as being my start date on this. And it's not going to be every day. I will continue to do daily, regular if not daily, meditation books from the Melody Beatty books and the Linda Picone, the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. I'm going to continue to read daily meditations, and I'm not going to combine them with the sobriety videos. So if you want to just come over here and just watch the meditation videos, you can just ignore the sobriety videos and act like they don't exist, and this channel will not change for you. I just want to make sure you understand that, because I so love what this channel is. You know, and so many of my YouTube friends are like, you need to get rid of that channel. Like, you only get 500 views a video or whatever. And I'm like, I love that channel. Like, that channel helps me so much. And, you know, I want a place where I am planting the seed regularly. And I'm talking about something that inspires me and I'm passionate about. And I think that this is the perfect place for that. So starting in later part of September or October, I don't know, maybe next week if I feel inspired to do it, I might do another Q&A over here like I did on my main channel, but that stuff's going to be over here from now on. And if you enjoy that, you know, you can watch those videos, and if you don't, you don't have to. But much of this channel, I don't think I'm going to change the name of this title yet, or this channel yet. I don't feel any reason to do that. I might down the road, but I don't think so. I like the name Peterisms. So what I need from you, I need your help, is to give me topics in the comment section below of different things to do with sobriety. Well, first of all, to let me know if you like this idea or not, because I do think it like fits naturally on this channel. And number 2, I would like to know what topics you would like me to talk about in related to addiction and recovery. What things would help you to hear about, what things you could care less to hear about, I guess, you know. But anything, like, I'm willing to talk about anything as it relates to my recovery. I mean, obviously there are a lot of things that I don't know how to talk about, but there are a lot of things I do know how to talk about, you know. And I have to say, like, one of the things, the way to compare it, I think, and this is going to sound kind of cheesy, is that I watch a lot of prison channels, or I have throughout the years, right? Like Christina Randall, I love her, and there's a lot of people that I watch, and, you know, it's kind of like them telling their stories of, and I know she's changed her channel to true crime now, but, like, telling their stories of, you know, being in prison and what that was like is very similar to kind of a little bit of what I want to do over here, is explaining my life through the eyes of recovery, just like they have done through, like, the eyes of being, you know, in prison. And so, for example, like, a topic that has been something that was hard for me, that I really had to talk to a lot of support people about, my sponsor at the time, and really come up with a plan, was, what do I want my wedding to look like sober, right? Do I want alcohol to be there? Like, that was a big deal. That was like a really huge deal when Alex and I got married, because I had some boundaries. It was like, I'm not paying for anybody's alcohol at our wedding, but do we want to have a cash bar? Do we want to do a champagne toast? I was kind of resistant to that. We did not do a champagne toast. There were a lot of things, you know, that came into play. And I know that that sounds like a simple kind of idea, like, who thinks about that? But when you're a person in recovery or sobriety, those are things you think about. So just let me know in the comment section below what you think about this idea of kind of mixing this channel up a little bit. I'm really excited about this. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you say, Peter, I'm not down for this. You just don't have to watch those videos. The meditations will still stay the same. I'll still be reading the Melody Beatty books over here. But yeah, so let me know what you think, and I'm really excited about this idea. So let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.